There comes a moment when the past becomes your prison. Memories, regrets, lost friendships, dead dreams, they don't inspire you anymore. They weaken you. They shackle you with nostalgia. They keep you loyal to versions of yourself that no longer deserve to exist. Society romanticizes this cemetery and calls it identity. But tell me, what kind of fool carries corpses on his back and calls it heritage? If you are watching this, tell me in the comments, from which city are you dragging your ghosts while pretending to live? I want to see how far this plague of memory has spread across the world, and if you can stomach truths like this video now, because the rest of this sermon will burn. You were not born to worship yesterday. You were born to sharpen your claws against tomorrow. But the herd taught you that loyalty to dead moments is virtue. They told you that you owe yourself to the past, to the people who once clapped for you, to the places that once tolerated your presence. I say you owe nothing to ghosts. Burn the bridges that lead back to that graveyard. Rip the roots out violently. The past is not a home. It is a trapdoor beneath your feet. You want freedom? Then stop feeding the memories that bite your flesh. Evolution is an act of betrayal to everything that once claimed to define you. Every step toward greatness demands execution, not negotiation. You dream of becoming stronger, wiser, untouchable, but you hesitate to cut ties with the weights. Clinging to your ankles, friends who only exist in nostalgia, habits that rot your willpower, environments that poison your breath. You keep them close because you fear solitude, but power is born in solitude. A king cannot march with chains on his wrists. Slice them off without mercy. And if these words strike you like a blade, then subscribe now. I speak only to those who dare to bleed for their own rebirth. The rest can leave this temple of truth immediately. I have seen too many men decorate their cages and call it life. They collect people, distractions, false comforts, stacking them like trophies, yet inside they are hollow, enslaved. Growth is not about adding, it begins with killing what makes you weak. A garden cannot bloom while choked by weeds, and neither can you while carrying parasites from your past. Do not explain, do not justify. Power does not beg for understanding, it commands. Subscribe if you crave command over your own fate, because the next words will demand you. Burn bridges most fear to even touch. The first true act of sovereignty is subtraction. The world tells you to keep adding more habits, more friends, more advice, more noise. But a man who cannot subtract his weaknesses is merely a decorated slave. Tear apart the rituals that keep you tame. Erase the numbers in your phone that keep you crawling back to mediocrity. Cleanse your life like a tyrant seizing a city. Burn every banner of your old self until only silence remains. If this feels cruel, it is because freedom is cruel to the illusions that kept you warm in your cage. And discipline. Our discipline is the throne on which power sits. Your days march like a disorganized army, soldiers deserting their posts, generals asleep while enemies raid your gates. No empire is built on this chaos. You must become your own commander, strict with your time, ruthless with your emotions, vigilant against the saboteurs you once called friends. Strategy is not just for war, it is for living. And, believe me, life is war. Every breath a battle for control of your destiny. You believe discipline is a burden because you were raised among sheep who worship comfort. But listen to me. Without the iron of command, your life is a battlefield already lost. Every hour you waste is an enemy soldier breaching your walls. Every weakness you tolerate is a dagger aimed at your spine. The man who refuses discipline chooses slavery, not to another person, but to chaos, to impulses, to the rotting chains of yesterday. If you wish to reign over your own existence, your habits must kneel like trained soldiers. Your mind must strike like a general who fears nothing, not even the loneliness of command. Remember this, no king ever shared his throne with weakness. No warrior ever won dragging deserters at his side. Your softness is not virtue. It is treason against yourself. And treason must be punished without hesitation, starting now. When you cut ties, do it in silence. Weak men announce their departures, begging for understanding, spilling words like blood in the water, hoping to be forgiven for choosing themselves. Pathetic. True power does not negotiate with ghosts. It vanishes. It leaves behind only absence, a void that screams louder than any farewell. Silence is not cowardice, it is dominance. It denies the other the pleasure of knowing where you went, why you left, whether you ever looked back. And listen carefully. If you are still searching for closure, you are still a high prisoner. Closure is a chain made of guilt and fear, forged by those who cannot follow you into your future. If you are strong enough to bear the weight of being misunderstood, if you dare to walk away without a word, subscribe now. Because what comes next will demand you crush not only ties, but entire versions of yourself that the world once applauded. Sentimentality, the sweet poison that makes men kiss their own chains. How many futures have been buried because someone whispered, "Don't forget where you came from," as if the mud of your past is a throne, gratitude twisted into a leash, loyalty transformed into a slow death. Listen to me. You owe nothing to the hands that once fed you if those hands now hold you down. The world adores the obedient who stay small, who bow to memories, who sacrifice their rise to keep others comfortable. But power has no room for nostalgia. Power spits on guilt and calls it what it is, an invention of the weak to keep you kneeling beside them. Tear off this collar or accept being paraded like a tamed beast. Decide now, because the man who hesitates to betray yesterday has already betrayed tomorrow, and the world will try to make you feel guilty for leaving them behind. It is their last weapon when they cannot stop your ascent. They will cry abandonment. They will curse your name. They will paint you as cruel. But cruelty is the only language progress understands. Do you think empires are built with apologies? Do you think greatness waits for permission slips signed by cowards? No. The moment you rise, someone loses their grip on you and they will call your liberation betrayal. Let them scream. Let them choke on their accusations. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be untouchable. And if these words tear at the little morality the herd fed you, then like this video, leave a comment and say you are done apologizing for your own evolution. Let them see you declare war on guilt itself. Reconstruction is not a gentle process. It is not a meditation retreat or a motivational seminar. It is tyranny over yourself. A new empire cannot rise while old laws still govern your soul. You must rule your future self like a despot, issuing decrees that tolerate no rebellion from the shadows of who you were. High standards, sharp punishments for weakness, ruthless elimination of every echo of the man you are escaping from. Because make no mistake, the old you will not surrender willingly. It will beg, bargain, and claw at your skin, whispering the lullabies of comfort, of old pleasures, of the easy path. You must be merciless. A king who pities his enemies loses his crown. And in this war, the old you is your first and most dangerous enemy. But once the slaughter is done, once you burn the bridges, once silence becomes your ally and discipline your sword, you will face one final test, becoming unrecognizable. Too many men cling to remnants of their former selves like relics in a temple of lies. They change their clothes but keep the same fears. They change their surroundings but keep the same triggers, the same fragile emotions ready to explode at the first familiar touch. Real transformation is a metamorphosis so absolute that those who knew you before cannot summon the old you even if they scream your name. If the same hooks still pull you back, you are not free. You are only pretending. If you hunger for that level of power, subscribe now, because from here on, I will carve into your mind the kind of brutality required to vanish and return as a sovereign no one dares to chain again. To become unrecognizable is to bury the corpse of your old self so deep that no memory can exhume it. It is to slaughter every habit, every thought, every weakness that once gave others power over you. And yet most men hesitate. They fear being strangers to their old tribe, to their old lovers, to their old failures. They beg for recognition, for validation that their transformation is acceptable, pathetic. True power does not seek approval. It terrifies the witnesses of your rebirth. It makes them whisper your name like they speak of a ghost who should have stayed dead. If your change still makes people comfortable, it is not real change. It is a costume for the same cowardice you swore to leave behind. But here lies the greatest danger, the temptation to look back. After all the bloodshed, all the silence, all the bridges turned to ash, you will feel the pull of yesterday, the desire to return, not to live there, but to be understood, forgiven, embraced once more. That is the final trap. the last trick of the past, to reclaim you. Nothing worth carrying forward was left behind. Everything in that graveyard is rot, and those who still live there are addicted to decay. The strongest man burns his past and never returns, no matter how loud the ghosts cry his name. If these words strike something inside you, comment now. Are you strong enough to burn it all and never turn back? Or will you crawl to your own funeral begging your past to love you again? I tell you this, the past is a hunter, and it stalks every man who dares to rise. It does not attack with teeth or claws, but with memories, with familiar voices, with the sweet poison of what once was. And the weak fall to their knees, begging for the comfort of chains they once cursed. I have seen countless souls drag their own coffins, mistaking nostalgia for identity, thinking that carrying dead weight makes them loyal, virtuous, human. Fools. Loyalty to the dead is treason to the living force within you. If you wish to breathe like a god, you must slaughter every whisper that dares to tell you who you used to be. And if this truth tears your heart apart, good. It means you are finally feeling the knife that will set you free. Do you think greatness is given to those who play fair with their past? No. It belongs to those who amputate every limb infected by yesterday, even if they limp into their new life bleeding. To rise is to kill, not just others' expectations, but every last fragment of the man who tolerated mediocrity, who bowed to guilt, who clung to dying loves and dead dreams. It will hurt. It will make you despised. It will make you feared. But tell me, do you want to be loved for staying in your cage, or hated for breaking the bars and building your throne? If your answer is the second, then like this video now, because the next words are for those who dare to earn their crown with blood, not with apologies. The herd will try to shame you into staying small. They will whisper about humility. They will sing lullabies of remember who you are, hoping you crawl back into their little circle of mediocrity. They need your weakness because it justifies their own. A man who breaks free, who cuts ties without remorse, who burns his old name and refuses to look back. Such a man is a living insult to their existence. And what do the sheep do when the wolf refuses the leash? They call him dangerous, ruthless, insane. But mark my words, only the mad have ever changed the world. Sanity is the comfort of the enslaved, the lullaby of the obedient. I do not promise you peace. I promise you fire, exile, and fear. Because the moment you choose sovereignty, you will feel the cold winds of solitude, the scorching glare of hatred from those who wanted you chained. But there is a strange ecstasy in this war, a divine intoxication that only the free will ever taste. The world will not clap for your escape. It will hunt you for it. Yet when you stand alone on the ruins of every false bond, with no past left to haunt you, you will finally see what it means to be alive without permission. If you crave that freedom, comment your city below and let me see where future kings are awakening from their graves. Every man who dares to ascend must first face execution, the execution of his old name, his old ties, his old gods. Society will kneel before the altar of tradition, begging you to do the same. They will chant, remember your roots, honor your past, stay loyal to what made you. But why should I bow to corpses? Why should you? Roots that do not feed life are chains. Memory that does not sharpen your blade is rot. If the past made you weak, you do not honor it, you burn it. Only cowards build their future on the graves of yesterday's failures, still kissing the dirt that once buried them. You are not a flower to be rooted. You are fire meant to consume. And this world fears fire. It fears men who dare to walk away without leaving breadcrumbs for guilt to follow. It fears men who do not ask to be excused for evolving, who do not cry when old bonds rot and fall away. Because such men cannot be controlled. No priest, no friend, no family can leash a man who has slaughtered his need for approval. That is why they call you heartless, arrogant, cruel. But tell me, is it cruelty to break free, or is it cruelty to demand another man die slowly beside you, just so you don't feel alone? Think carefully. Then like this video, because only those who thirst for true power, for untouchable freedom, will walk with me through the next gates of fire. You were told life is about adding friends, adding dreams, adding trophies to prove you've lived well. But this is the gospel of the domesticated. True growth begins with subtraction, with slaughter, with cleansing the battlefield of every weak soldier inside you. Before you build your empire, you burn the village of your old comforts. Before you claim your throne, you execute the part of you that ever begged for belonging. The world will call it madness because it worships accumulation. But kings know you cannot build palaces on rotten ground. First, you erase. First, you destroy. First, you make space for something worthy of a god to rise. And do not think you can explain this war to others. They would not understand. They will demand letters, closure, justifications. They will ask for soft endings, gentle words, final conversations. Do not give them this luxury. A real cut bleeds in silence. A true escape leaves nothing but absence and fear behind it. Power does not negotiate with dependency. It annihilates it. If you still dream of sending one last message, of making them understand why you left, you are still a prisoner begging for a fair trial. There are no trials in war, only winners and the forgotten. If you're still listening, if this truth drills through your skull, then like this video now. And keep moving forward with me. The weak will stop watching here. Guilt, that is their favorite weapon. They will brand you a traitor for leaving, a monster for cutting ties, a sinner for refusing to kneel before memories. They will tell you that you owe something to the past, that your loyalty must endure even when it poisons your blood. This is how mediocrity survives, by fastening chains of gratitude around those who dare to climb higher. But remember this, gratitude is not servitude. You owe nothing to those who kept you small, who loved only the weaker version of you. Evolution requires betrayal in their eyes. Let them choke on it. Let them drown in their own morality while you march forward unchained. And once you've burned the bridges, they will try to rebuild them. They will knock at your gates with apologies, with sweet words, with promises of change. Do not open. The past is a skilled assassin. It returns with gifts only to stab you with yesterday's blade. A king who reopens. Old doors loses his fortress. The man who glances back dies a second death slower than the first. If you've walked this far with me, you already know. No return, no explanations, no hand extended to the ghosts that want to drag you under. Comment below if you understand this war, if you felt those hands trying to pull you back, and tell me, did you burn them off? Or are they still holding your throat? Every empire worth building demands a tyrant at its foundation, a self who rules without mercy over his own destiny. The old world within you must not just be abandoned, it must be conquered, enslaved, executed. Too many men try to negotiate with their past, as if asking politely for permission to rise. I tell you, seize your life as a dictator seizes a city. Set strict laws for the man you are becoming. Cut every throat that whispers old excuses, and never allow yesterday's parasites to crawl back into your kingdom. This is not cruelty. This is divine law. A god does not apologize for striking down false idols. When you become this new creature, this force no one can recognize or control, you will terrify the herd. They will spit your name like a curse. They will weave stories about how you changed, about how you forgot who you were. Let them. Their tongues are shackled to the dirt you left behind. You are not meant to be understood. You are meant to be untouchable. Do not waste breath trying to explain, to soothe, to prove you are still one of them. You are not. You have become a storm, a lawless sovereign, a man who commands respect simply by existing beyond reach. And storms do not ask for validation. They erase everything that stands in their way. This is the final test, the temptation to turn around, to revisit the ashes of old loves, old friendships, old selves, hoping to find meaning in ruins. But ruins do not cradle life. They cradle ghosts. And every step you take back is a dagger in the heart of the man you are becoming. The past will always seduce you with promises of comfort, with the illusion that you can merge who you were with who you want to be. But there is no reconciliation, only surrender. True transformation is a scorched earth policy. No path back, no safe retreat, no compromise. Power is not built on harmony with your old self. It is built on his execution. So I tell you now, with every ounce of fire in my lungs, do not look back. Do not write letters to the dead. Do not ask forgiveness from those who wanted you kneeling. You have burned their world. You have buried your old name, and you march into a future they cannot follow. This is sovereignty. This is life without chains. And if you feel that burn inside your chest, if my words carved something new in your bones, then prove it. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let the herd know you have joined the ranks of men who do not beg the past for mercy. They set it on fire and never turn around. What will they say of you when you are gone? That you were kind, that you were obedient, that you never abandoned the ghosts who chained you? Or will they tremble at your memory, whispering that you were merciless with illusions, that you built a kingdom no one could invade, that you refused to die a tame death? Understand this. The world worships martyrs because martyrs stay small. They stay human. They stay owned. But gods are feared, not loved. To ascend, you must accept fear over affection, respect over sympathy, solitude over the warm rot of belonging. If you cannot do this, stop watching now. You were born for a leash, not a throne. But if your veins burn for freedom, if your soul howls for a life untouchable, then walk with me. Forget the language of apologies, burn the letters, silence the phone, erase the names. Stand naked in front of the fire you lit and walk through it until there is nothing left of who you were. Only then will you understand power, not given, not borrowed, but seized with bloody hands and an iron will. That is the price of sovereignty. That is the death of the past. And if you are ready to pay it, subscribe to this channel and join me. Because here we do not teach men how to heal, we teach them how to conquer.